Hi. I'm going to give it a second. Hi, everyone. Um, this is our first Instagram Live. Such an exciting thing. We are really looking forward to this conversation. This is the Live with Nikki and Brian show. I'm Nikki. Um, Very excited to have you all here. I'm just going to do a little bit of an introduction for those of you who don't know me. My name is Nikki, and I am the founder of Bite Me Cancer, which I started back when I was in high school in 2010 when I was diagnosed with a rare form of thyroid cancer at 17. So, I was dealing with cancer at the later end of my teenage, cycle, which was really hard. So today's conversation is really going to be around my experience and my co-host's experience with being teenagers dealing with cancer. And then we have a very special guest that we will introduce later. So my co-host is Brian. I'm going to go ahead and invite him on first. He is also one of our board members. So let's see. I'm going to add Brian. Okay.
Nikki, how's it
Hey.
going?
Hello.
Hey, awesome to be here. First ever
Yes.
live with Nikki and Brian.
It's so cool.
These awesome mugs here.
I know.
They're pretty
Really.
cool.
Very cool. All right, guys, this is Brian. Go ahead and give a little intro, Brian.
Hey everyone, my name's Brian Kincaid. I am a board member with Bite Me Cancer. I also co-chair the development committee and serve on the wine dinner committee and just kind of do a whole lot of other things. I've been volunteering with Bite Me Cancer now for about 4 years. It's been a great 4 years. It's really kind of been crazy that it's been that long. We've had a lot of fun, got to do a lot of really cool things. And I know it's just kind of the beginning and we're going to be doing a lot more cool things. So, first ever live with Nikki and Brian here. And I think this is just the beginning. So stay tuned, everyone.
Yeah. It's great. So we just really wanted to focus today on first a little bit about our background being teenagers with cancer for a couple minutes. Brian and I have a little bit of an opposite perspective because when we were both in the hospital, I was in the adult ward. So like most hospitals, they don't have, teenage specific areas. So I was in the adult ward. So I was the youngest kid or teenager with like 30, 40, 50-year-olds. But Brian was in pediatrics. So he was in, the children's area. Brian, do you want to tell a little bit about your experience with that?
Yeah, so let me give you a little bit of background for those who don't know me here or haven't, just kind of hang on here. I also have a needy puppy that just got out of surgery, so you might hear his voice here. Anyways, I was diagnosed with ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, at the age of 19, right after my second year of college. I just actually kind of celebrated my 10th cancer anniversary on June 3rd, which is kind of crazy. I can't believe it's been 10 years. That's actually wild. And so, like Nikki said, I was treated at a Nova Fairfax in the pediatric ward. Hi, buddy. Hi. In the pediatric ward in Nova, and it was, like Nikki said, she was the youngest I was the oldest with a bunch of kids. And it was really an interesting kind of experience being there, and just everything's colors and stuffed animals and bears and everything that just wasn't for me. And, as being a 19-year-old, the last thing I wanted was stuffed animals and kind of stuff like that. And so I kind of just had a frowny face on most of, the experience or most of my time in the hospital until I got to meet our special guest tonight. And so that's a pretty cool story that we'll kind of link in there at one time. But, having that really experience was something. And, when I first met Nikki and trying to get involved with the foundation, we kind of bonded immediately on, our shared experiences, but which were also so similar, but really so different at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, thinking back to that time, I mean, to your point, getting stuffed animals in the hospital and getting coloring books before there were like cool adult coloring books. I mean, these were like for kids. Um, you really appreciate the gesture, but at the same time, you're kind of like, this doesn't really apply to me. And at the same time, you're also kind of like going through high school, or in your state, going through college, and you're, you are very much aware. Hi, Tony. You're very much aware of what's going on in your body. You understand the doctors. You're trying to navigate school. I didn't have to take any time off. I believe you did take some time off. But it's just like a very, very tough to navigate. Your brain's still developing. I mean, it's such a crazy time. And that's kind of actually how we started the bag program, the teen support bag program that we do at the foundation, is because I kind of saw that there was this niche market that wasn't being met with teenagers in the hospital. And, I wish I had a nurse Holly like you did. And so on that note, we are going to introduce our very special guest, Holly. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, Holly, I invited you. Hi.
Hello, friends.
Hello. Hello. Hey, Brian, please introduce our lovely Holly.
So this is somebody that, in our world doesn't need an introduction. I cannot say enough nice things about Holly, saying she is the most amazing person I've ever met in my entire life. And I have never met somebody more suited for their job than Holly. She is the absolute best at what she does. And the kids, teenagers, adults who get to work with her and get to meet her are the luckiest people alive. And so with that, Holly, I will let you kind of go from there. And I know that's a big introduction. I'm sorry. But I think the world of you, and I hope you know that.
I really appreciate it. Thank you both to having me on. The perks of being a guest on a show. I mean, I feel like it's like Regis and Kelly. I get my own coffee mug. This is awesome. So cheers. But this is a huge thing for you guys to be doing. And I was listening to you guys tell your stories, and I can't believe I've known you both for 10 years now.
I know.
That, you couldn't see my face, but I literally got shock and awe when you both said that this is 10 years now. So,
I know.
So Brian, thank you for that very sweet introduction, and Nikki, your kind words too. And so I'm a child life specialist. For those of you that are watching, I'm a child life specialist at Inova Children's Hospital at the Fairfax campus. And so my job, I work on the pediatric oncology unit, and my job is to help make sure that kids and teenagers, and in some cases like Brian, young adults, are understanding, and like Nikki was talking about, helping to navigate, because, it's a hard world to learn to navigate, and you get thrown in so quickly. And so my job is to help kids and teens understand what's going on, help kind of things make sense, recognize that there are hardships. There's times it's going to suck, but there's a lot of good things that can come out of it too. And I think, Brian and Nikki's friendship, and the fact that Nikki connected with me at the hospital, and now we're like all three connected, it's a positive thing. It's a positive relationship that's formed. There's a lot of advocacy. So, but yeah, so I too wish, Nikki, that you had been with me as well. So I think we would have had a great time.
I know, we totally would have.
So, but yeah, so so I've been at Inova for, I'm going to age myself here, 17 years. Okay. 17 years. But, and like Brian said that, I'm made for my job. And I honestly feel that. I feel very lucky to have found Child Life, and very lucky and privileged to be able to work in pediatric oncology to help families and patients navigate through this very life-changing journey that nobody wants to go on, and to try and make some sense of it and bring a little happiness to it, and bring a little joy, and help create friendships out of things, when things aren't all that great.
Yeah. How many teenagers on average do you think you work with? I don't know, like typically. How many teens are usually?
Yeah, it kind of comes and goes in waves, honestly. Right now, I think I have like 4 teenagers to young adult. I think the oldest patient we have right now is a 24-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, way older than me.
Yeah. So,
and that's crazy too to think about, because I mean, obviously you don't want like a lot of teenagers dealing with this, but it's such a small number. Depending on where they're even located in the hospital, that is another issue, is like they don't really have like the support of each other when they're in the hospital.
Yeah.
Which I also find, that's also hard. Not only are they like probably displaced, whether they're with kids or adults, but even so, on top of that, there's probably not, another handful of teens in there anyways.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very unique group as far as like adolescents and young adults go, because you're trying to figure out, you're finally getting independent from your parents, and you're trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do, where you fit in this world, and that alone without cancer is like ugh, in itself. And so and then just add this on top of it, and you're back there relying on mom and dad full force again, and you can't see your peers in the way that you want to see your peers. It's one thing to FaceTime, but it's another thing to go out, and so a lot of that is taken away, which is such a vital part of your adolescent and young adult development.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, that's a great point. And I, when I gave you that nice introduction, I kind of missed the story that I love to tell about how we met. And kind of it fits right into that, in the sense that when I was, 19 on this pediatric floor, just kind of older than everybody, felt like I didn't really fit in. And I first met Holly, and Holly, in the nicest way possible, relentlessly harassed me to get up, to leave my room, to do things, to meet people, to help, just anything that, and I just was, no, leave. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sit there. I was like prison. I want to do my time and get out.
Yeah.
But after a number of days and a number of time, I ended up giving in to Holly, and Holly made me a better person, made me a better patient, and, made me a lot, I wouldn't say appreciate kind of what we were going through, but really kind of understand and I guess appreciate. And I ended up becoming best friends at the time with a 6-year-old, and who now is 16, and which is incredible to me too.
That's crazy to think about.
And that's a hilarious story. And I know he drove Holly crazy. But it was one of those things where, it really kind of, you do feel as an outsider a little bit. And, that's why I know the bag program works so well. It's, we really target the teenagers, get out to them. Hi, buddy. I'm sorry. And really kind of, target those teens and make sure that the bags were getting to them. And I know they really appreciate it. And some of the, responses that we've gotten back from teenagers and their families have just been absolutely incredible. And it really makes what we do worth it. And, when Holly's there delivering our bags to the rooms, oh my God, he's going to jump, to the teenagers, and, just seeing their faces, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that, even though Nikki wasn't treated at Inova, she is local and everything. And so, she and her parents reached out to me to get this program started and everything. And I was very humbled by that. I don't take it lightly when people reach out and be like, hey, we've heard about who you are. It's very humbling for me. And it helps me to know that what part of what I'm doing is making a difference. And the fact, Nikki, that you wanted to contribute to that difference, I'm so glad you guys reached out and
Yeah.
we were able to kind of put these bags together and everything.
Yeah.
And over the
The
years,
first bag.
I know, and it's
So
evolved and
crazy.
everything. So,
Yeah.
and to this day, I can honestly say when I give those bags out, I very specifically say that this is a local organization started by a former teenage patient, who was out in life doing well and everything, and that
Yeah.
that this is specifically only goes to teens and young adults, and they're always like, oh.
Yeah.
So
No.
it's something special to have when, like you were saying, the coloring and all that kind of stuff. I think it's important to, like with Brian, he said I pestered him, and I do. I pester in a good way, in a nice
It's a great way. It was great.
In the best way.
You gotta knock away, because not everybody's ready to engage, especially when they're first diagnosed and everything, and that's okay. And I very much like to respect that.
Yeah.
But keep coming back just to let you know, hey, dude, I'm not leaving your side. I'm here if you need me. And it's taking those walks in the hallways. It's playing that Uno game, where the conversation happens, and then before you know it, you've developed this trusting, supportive relationship without actually having actual interventions per se.
Right.
Oh, for sure. And I think, child life is one of the most underappreciated things that people don't know about in the hospital, and the work that you do to make the kid, not only teenagers, but, all the kids that you work with feel safe and feel loved and cared for. And, without you guys, it's a scary place. And, your help means the world. It meant the world to me. And I know it means the world to so many of those kids every single day. Well,
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's so funny, thinking back on my time in the hospital, I don't think I had a child life specialist, because I was on the other end. To be honest, that whole time for me in the hospital was a blur. I vaguely remember doing laps, they make you do laps, walking around.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really remember much. I just remember, I honestly don't even remember much. It's such a blur. My main memories are from Relay for Life, starting the foundation, my friends, being supportive. That's what I think about most, just creating the foundation. My whole hospital experience is so nulled out, which is so crazy to even think about.
And just hearing you say that, it's kind of the opposite of what I wanted to do, because you ran right into that spotlight head first. Relay for Life, started this amazing foundation. Look at where you are now. And for me, I wanted to hide for 6 years until I could figure out that this was something I cared about and wanted to give back and help. And I wanted to forget everything I'd ever went through until, the funny story when I met your mom and she shared your story. And it was just this incredible moment where I was like, crap, excuse my language, I'm sorry, where I can make a difference. I can help, and I want to help. And I was finally ready, and it took a while, but I do vividly remember, okay, hi buddy. I do vividly remember, those hospital stays, the first time I was in there for 11 days and kind of waiting for answers. But it's just 10 years just seems like it went by in a blur.
I know. One of my other memories is when I was going through radiation, and this is so being a teenager going through cancer. I'm literally in high school. I'm leaving history class 30 minutes early every day to make it to radiation. And then I was I have to go to football games on Fridays. So I would go to the football game, and then I would be zonked out, exhausted the whole rest of the weekend. Mm-hmm. But that was my weeks. I would leave, it was every day. So I would leave history early every day, go to radiation, have my little pink slip. And then I'd go to the football games on Fridays, and I would sleep all weekend. But as a teenager, you're I still want to have some sense of normalcy. I still want to try to make it to all these things. And, obviously I couldn't do everything that my friends were doing, but I was senior year of high school, I'm this is what I want to be doing. And, you just try to make it work. And I know, Brian, you were in college.
Yeah, it was tough. I felt like I kind of was on top of the world after my sophomore year of college. I was just was elected president of my fraternity. Then, whoa, things were doing really good. I got hit with a cone. Things were doing really good, you know, and all of a sudden, kind of bam, I was diagnosed with cancer. And then I wasn't able, my first question to the doctor after he said, Brian, you have cancer. I was like, can I go back to school? And he looked at me like I was stupid. And I just was kind of like, okay, well, what do I do now? And he's like, well, we start chemotherapy like now. And I was like, oh, good. This is fun. But yeah, I missed the whole first semester of my junior year. But I had, you know, two professors that took a really good care of me, and they gave me classes online because the school wanted me to medically withdraw, but my advisor said no. So she was able to help me out. I took two classes, and then against medical advice, I went back to school in the spring semester of my junior year. And I probably not the best for most people to hear that, but I really wanted to get back, and I'm here today. So I think things were all good. We found another oncologist down at Radford and down in Roanoke, and so everything kind of worked out. But
I have I have something similar. Like when I had to get like another surgery, I guess my senior year again, beginning of my senior year of college. They were like, this was like right at the beginning of senior year of college, and they were like, you have to get the surgery right now. And I was like, if I get the surgery right now, like I can't graduate college. Like I need to at least go to like a first couple classes of senior year, or like they'll make me, you know, retake a semester. So like I literally had to like negotiate with the doctor, like, hey, like, okay, I'll give you 4 weeks. And he was like, okay, deal. And so like, again, like you had good professors. I had nice professors that like worked with me and ended up, you know, graduating on time. But it's just like this crazy thing you have to deal with, like, and you're like, you're not dealing with it alone because you have friends and like, you know, whatever, but mentally you're like, I'm doing all of this while also doing school, while also dealing with cancer. So it's just such like it's just such a crazy thing to deal with at that time, which is why like the teen support bags, you know, we really want them to feel special. We want them to, you know, to know that these are just for them. And even, you know, a little bit of a moment of something that they feel special or normalcy or anything, something in the bag that, you know, identifies with them is just great if we can help even just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing, you know, Holly and you both said it, it's trying to get teenagers to feel normal. And because you lose your hair, you lose, you know, your sense of yourself. And, you know, I mean, you lose weight, your body changes, you look different, and trying to kind of cope with that while in high school, while in college, it's not easy. But, you know, luckily we're there, and we have people like Holly who are allies and helpful to us and can be there for us to, you know, help make us feel normal and help bring that sense of normalcy back to our lives.
Well, and I think one of the things I'd like to point out for those people that are tuning in that you both have touched on is that as teenagers and young adults, you both advocated for your own needs. And you recognized what you needed that was most important to you to feel normal. And that's something, you know, that is so important, whether you're going through treatment or not as a teenager, but especially when you're going through treatment, is advocating for your own needs. Like Nikki, you said, I need to go to football games to feel normal. And you were fine with the fact that you were zonked out the rest of the weekend because that was one of the things that makes you feel normal in high school. Yeah. You know, and that's such a, I think that's such a point that so many people can, you know, embrace more of, is like, you know, when given the choice to speak up for your needs and everything like that, people, you know, I think some people kind of negate teenagers, and it's kind of like, oh, they're teenagers, they don't really know what they want, but they do. Yeah, they do. And it's important to ask, and it's important to listen. And even if those requests can't always be completely honored, there's usually a way to compromise. Yep. And I think, you know, I think it's important for, you know, for physicians, for parents, for psychosocial team members to realize that we just have to come together as a team and truly treat it as a team, because you are learning what you want as teenagers. Like I said, it's such a unique group as compared to like 8-year-olds who are like, yeah, okay, my mom, whatever. But when you're 16 and you're like, no, I want to go to football.
Like, wait. Yeah.
So I think that's such an important point for teens to remember when they're going through this journey is advocate, whether it's at the hospital, whether it's for your needs outside of the hospital, you know, and just knowing that we want to hear you. We want to listen to you. We want to help you and work with you. We may not always have the answers as your care team, as your parents, but if, you know, you open up, and I think, you know, that's something that, Nikki, in those bags, you share your story with the kids and everything. And I think that's really important too, for them to not just get this bag of stuff, but then also get a little bit of your story too, so that they really can relate and be like, okay, this isn't just like some, you know, random service organization that put these together. This is actually a group that was started with this intention from someone who went through it.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes the meaning that much higher.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So, but you guys, I mean, you guys have been through stuff, and, that, you know, adults don't handle well, and you've handled it with grace. And
thank you.
I think, you know, the fact that you're willing to advocate, you're willing to speak up, whether you start an organization or not, just the fact that you want your voice to be heard. Brian, like you said, it took you a while to come around, and that's okay. You know, and one of the things, and, you know, that when I talk with teens is like, this doesn't have to be the topic of every conversation. This is not who you are. This is a part of what's going on in your life right now, but this does not define who you are.
Yeah.
Now, if you want it to, that's your choice. But you can always choose not to have it define you and just be a part of what's going on right now, or a part of what has happened in the past and made you who you are now. So I think, you know, it's important for teens to recognize that, you know, just because cancer doesn't have to be the topic of every single conversation you have with your care team. Or with your parents or anything like that. And trying to really just, like you said, normalize the situation. And it's important to talk about, you know, football. It's important to talk about all those different activities that maybe you're missing and maybe we can get back into, and sharing stories and building those relationships to where you really can feel that you have full support. And you're not just like a number in a book.
Yeah, 100%. Well, this was such a good conversation. I think that's a lovely note to wrap up on. Holly, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I feel very special to be on the inaugural
of course.
version, and
we wouldn't have it any other way.
With my mug.
Yes.
It's always great to see you, Holly.
You too, Brian, and you too, Nikki.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll keep you all posted on when we were going to do the next live with Nikki and Brian.
Hey, Nikki, I would just one thing, but I didn't want to cut you off, but
go for it.
I just want to say one thing, and I know your dad would be upset with me if I didn't make a plug for September 17th. We have a wine dinner.
We have a wine dinner.
We're awesome, coming back. Too.
We missed it last year, but we're coming back. And so, you know, stay tuned. You're going to see a lot of stuff from Nikki, from the Bite Me Cancer Instagram, the Facebook page. Follow everything. But we're back, guys. We're coming back, and we're coming back.
We're back. It's an evening of wine, auction, lots of good times. Stay tuned for more information on that. And thank you guys so much. Have a great evening.
Bye,
guys.